Have you ever gotten pissed off while playing TF2? There are definitely many different reasons for such an occurrence to happen, but out of those, my own interest leans towards the topic of facing against annoying weapons and how to deal with them with situation-dependent weapon choices, aka countering. Countering what your opposing enemy team is, or rather what specific players on there are doing, as a concept from my experiences mixed reaction depending on who you ask. From some, calling players on the opposing team who have switched to heavy mid-round as rage heavies, and spice complaining over being designed to be countered by parallels, all the way to your own team yelling at whoever they decided to believe is the most competent among you at destroying the ingeniousness, which is defending last. However, this is what is usually called as class counters, as in the whole concept of a class in its entirety countering a different class. But the reason why I myself want to specifically talk about this in the video being more about weapons countering other weapons than class counters, is that I personally see barely any talk about that, with possibly the biggest exception being using the vaccinator against enemy snipers, which even then was mostly during the pod crisis. So you might be asking, why should I bother myself with that? And to be honest, there is no actual need to start countering every single player on the enemy team. Because let's be honest, you by yourself just can't reasonably do that without help from your team. Or perhaps, maybe you just don't care enough about the whole countering thing and just want to play with the loadout that you're already used to. However, what I do recommend to consider is to counter a tactic present on the enemy team that is annoying you. Be it by killing you all the time, or basically wiping your team at such a constant pace, to a point of making you question why did you decide to open TF2 today. And for now, I will tell a few pieces of information on how to possibly counter certain weapons, as I might go more in depth in a video per weapon in the future, assuming I will have the energy and the motivation to do so. So, without further ado, this minigun is one of the more annoying weapons in TF2 because it shuts down many of the common loadouts very easily. Due to the nature of the weapon's damage specific resistances, it is quite a good idea to use a loadout with weapons that have multiple damage types, as to switch to the currently unresistant type mid-fight, like for example the good old stock soldier, with his combination of the rocket launcher and the shotgun. Basically, when you start attacking the vac pair with your rocket launcher, the medic will switch to the explosive resistance to lessen the damage they take from it, and that's where you switch to your shotgun to deal bullish damage to them. And do remember to switch back to your rocket launcher once they will switch to the bullet resist to dampen your shotgun damage. One of the more straightforward ways of dealing with the vaccinator are melee weapons in general, as it lacks any kind of melee resistance. But due to most melee weapons being considerably lower on the DPS side of the TF2 weaponry, it is recommended to use melee weapons that allow you to kill the medic in one hit, such as by backstabbing them with any of the spice knives. This is due to the vaccinator medic usually using their Ubers on a perf class, so you try to dig their graves with a shovel. 65 damage at a time is just going to make you into combustible material. This section is about any loader you can consider as a full demonite, but the most annoying of them seems to be the Islander more often than not. What you might hear most often as a way to counter demonite is to use flamethrower's air blast, and sure, it's quite effective at nullifying a demonite's charge, if you're close enough to the demonite when it happens. The lame part is when it comes to the Islander using demonites who are speeding around. Thanks to your teammates donating their brains to him, is that after being pushed away, they can just run away from you as a barrel and go on to continue their kill streak on someone else from your team, only for you to die to him later on when he catches you off guard while even more high on your team's souls. So, if you want to nullify and kill a demonite more consistently, just use Natasha as a heavy. The slowdown effect it applies on hit just destroys any speed of whichever demonite happens to get hit by it, assuming they're not too far away for the slowdown to become impotent at such a distance. This massively helps with stopping demonite charges and also limits the chances of the demonite escaping in time from you before they become a snail or a side tractor. And overall, Natasha is just a straight up a good counter against any tactic that relies on on-foot movement speed to do anything. Flock as a weapon is one of those that are easy to team with in a short amount of time once it gets to its preferred conditions. And at that point it will feel like you can't really do anything about it. Especially if stock Uber has been blended in with it. So there's two different main ways for dealing with a flog. You either nullify the grids, which is mostly done with the battalion's backup, or stock Uber from your team, with the other option being you killing the flog user before they reach you with their grids. The latter is mostly simply done by dealing insane amount of damage to the flog barrel right after they finish their taunt that gives them the grids to begin with. So kill them in the split second where they don't have to Uber from the taunt, nor are able to deal damage to you with the grids they just got. The straightforward way to do this will be a stick trap at their feet, or a headshot from a sniper rifle that was charged for long enough.
Ah! Help me! We need a
Short circuit in terms of annoyance is way more specific than other weapons that I have mentioned so far, as it only works against projectiles, which it deletes, and this understandably makes it one of the more annoying things to face while you are trying to destroy an engineer nest with your sticky bombs, for example. Which is especially infuriating if your team also spent an Uber for such plans. So the options are mostly anything that is not a projectile, with most likely first thing come to mind being bullets, as short circuit does not affect those directly. However, it can kind of make aiming at the engineer using this thing difficult due to the brightness the electric ball has if fired directly at whoever is shooting at them. As such, most bullet-based weapons are in nature of semi-automatic shots that make you lose DPS if you miss with them, so in my honest opinion, heavies, or rather miniguns, are quite a good way of teaching out bullet damage at the short-circuit engineers, due to constant range of bullets making it easier to keep a stream of automatic fire at them, and the blinding effect won't be as detrimental during the encounter. A question that might have popped up in your mind after I said that could be something like, why would an engineer use a short circuit against a heavy? In the sense of a pure 1v1, yeah, short circuit is useless against a minigun, and as such an engineer will have no reason to pull it out, and thus it's as if it doesn't matter. But TF2 at its base is a team-based game, and you will more likely than not have demoman and soldier teammates on your team, and that's fair. The short circuit being pointless against you as a heavy makes it important to kill an engineer who you see is actively spamming short circuit against your soldiers / demomen, as to make them have an easier time dealing with what they're better at compared to you based on your choice of class / weapons. By countering something that is useless against you and impossible to deal with for someone else on your team will make it easier for the team to win as a whole. And as such, don't intentionally ignore killing marks / destroying buildings from the enemy team just because you yourself aren't dying to them. Instead, use your loadout based advantages to kill what is easy for you to kill. And if enough members of your team are doing the same in different ways, victory just might be yours more often than it was before. Okay, so that was some of my bare bones type of thoughts on how to counter certain weapons / loadouts. If you have played TF2 for a longer amount of time, you most likely already knew what I have mentioned in this video, and even more than that. However, I do think there's a bunch of people who don't know about at least one of the counter methods I described in this video, so I do believe it has some use in that regard. Anyways, that's it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it enough to like, subscribe and comment your thoughts on the topic of the video. See ya!